Dr. Z, on today's show, we have an incredible guest.
Incredible?
This guy's name is Rafferty. He's from the hit NBC show Songland. He was on the show, and he absolutely put on a laser show performance, and he ended up producing a song called When You Fall in Love that was produced by Shane McAnally. Unbelievable performance.
How do we get these? I mean, this guy is like cool beyond cool. How do we?
And he's got an Apple hit.
Does he realize it's on our show, or does he think it's on something
confused.
else?
This guy's had an Apple hit song.
Yeah,
he's done so well for himself. I think he thinks he's on maybe the Jimmy Fallon show.
Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
See, what if he doesn't pick up?
Oh, he'll pick up. Have faith. Have a little faith.
Is this Rafferty? This is the Jimmy Fallon show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, we are interviewing a guest who recently appeared on the NBC hit TV show Songland, and he did well. He dominated some Songland.
Come on now.
He was good.
Come on now.
Cameron, welcome onto the Thrive Time show. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I got to ask you, man, you seem so calm and cool and collected when you were singing on that show. Was it nerve-wracking getting up on that show?
You know, it is, and it was. But the second, it's funny when you have enough training and you're saying for a long time, like, I'm more comfortable on the mic than I was even walking up to the mic. As soon as I start singing, the comfort level completely changes. But everything, all the momentum, all the wardrobe, all the lights and the stand and all that's pretty nerve-wracking, definitely.
Cameron, your career to date, is that the high watermark? Was that the most nervous you've been? Or was there a moment you can remember that you were like even more nervous than that?
What was weird was I was extremely nervous on the second song, the second rendition of the original song that I wrote, because we didn't have a chance to even rehearse it with the band. I had to go on in 20 minutes. It was working well, and I was in the corner. I mean, talking to the ghost of Frank Sinatra and Freddie Mercury and anybody I could get my hands on.
Sure.
Just praying, just please, like, make me not destroy it in a good way, but make me not just completely ruin this and just botch it. And I was terrified before I walk up to the mic the second time. But it's interesting is that when you're performing a song you just wrote that kind of opened you up, and then you rewrite the song into a whole new song that opens you up as well, and then you have to go on the next day and perform that on national television without any rehearsal for the band. It wasn't just singing a cover song. It was like singing a part of people seeing you essentially worse than naked.
That sounds like a scene out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, guys, in the chord of C, follow me, right? Or whatever. Right. It's like, okay, here we go.
Without a rehearsal.
Something out of a movie for sure, 100%.
Now, I would like to ask you this because your career is starting to heat up now, and you've obviously been putting in thousands of hours. But could you share with us when you first discovered your love of music and what your life was like growing up? I mean, when did you first discover that, hey, I love music?
Well, I was an only child growing up, so music was kind of a feedback loop for me, and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, so I think deep in my subconscious, I dreamed of becoming somebody more than myself. So I think I was an okay jock. I'm 6'5". I was pretty good at football and basketball, but I was never like college or NBA material. Like not like college, but like big time college material. And I think I realized that early on, and I thought, well, because that kind of a deep insecurity of just being kind of a kid and being lonely in school, that if I become a singer, then I'll have friends. And I remember getting on stage, and I was about 12 or 13 for the school, talent show.
Yeah.
And I remember I was singing, and I quit basketball to start a band, and all the jocks in the front were booing me, and everyone kind of in Salt Lake City, where I was from, it was really cool to be a jock back then. It was not cool to be in a band, and so they all kind of booed me off stage.
In Salt Lake, they booed you?
That's stuck with me a lot of my life, so I think it all comes together.
They booed you in Salt Lake?
I'm from Salt Lake, yeah.
I know a lot of people from Salt Lake. It's a good Mormon country up there. Were you raised Mormon?
No, my mom was. My dad's actually Persian from Iran, and I wasn't raised Mormon. She actually left the Mormon church when she was about 21 after going to BYU. So no, a lot of my family is, though.
I was going to say, I've seen very few Mormons that boo prolifically, Z. I'm going to have a talking to some of my Mormon friends there about the Mormon and booing in Salt Lake City, Z. We're going to have some. There will be some repercussions here. Now
we're going to have to have a conversation with some folks. I'm telling you that right now.
Now, Cameron, I want to ask you this because you've had to support yourself. Being a musician, I know people might think the contrary, but until you get your first big hit and then your second big hit, until you start getting some wins, getting some rights with some bigger artists, you have to find a way to survive. And so, a lot of times people maybe look great on stage, but earning an income can be tough. How have you supported yourself, my friend? What have you been doing? How have you gone from A to B as you've been focusing on your career? What kind of jobs have you had on the side?
So I went to USC in LA for school. I graduated, and I sold uniforms in Texas for a while, kind of in Bastrop and LaGrange and kind of Austin area. Yeah. And then I went into real estate. There's a part of me that says I want to get into music again because I had been in college. And so I went into real estate and made a lot of money selling shopping centers in Newport Beach. And then one day I basically said, I'm done. I told my boss I'm going to quit. And I took the money that I had made, and that lasted me for the next year or two while I was struggling, touring with my truck around the country to different smaller cities, truck stops, trying to learn what America was really about outside of Newport Beach, California. And it was incredible. I was out for months and months at a time, and sometimes sleeping in my truck, but I'd had enough of the glitz and the glamour and the BS, so to speak, where I was at. So, I read, about Jack Kerouac and Johnny Cash and everybody, and I wanted to live that life. So when I got back, I still had a little bit of money left. And I just kind of wrote for random TV shows here and there, and I maxed out my credit cards, and I was just able to scrape for a few years. And one day, I had this song that was just my dad wanted me. He's like, this is great, and I was pretty much broke, and he said you should record this song. And this song, long story short, became the most used song in Apple's history of any product rollout. It became the official song for the iPhone 6s. Literally lottery ticket out of nowhere.
And what's this song called? I know the listeners right now are scrambling to Google search this. What's the song called?
It's called Apple Pie. It's by Rafferty.
Oh, yeah.
The song was called Apple Pie. And basically, it became the most used song ever. So the ghost of Steve Jobs anointed me. And we had 12 commercials internationally and 12 domestically. And all of a sudden, I was touring all over the world.
Cool.
But the United States hadn't, U.S., nobody in the U.S. really knew about it.
Other than those in the truck stops, right? Yeah.
So basically that was about 3 years ago. And then that gave me, it was a blessing because it gave me the money to be able to last until Songland. And then pretty soon here coming up, and I can't say yet. Yeah. I'm on a huge show coming up, I believe, towards the end of this year or starting of next year. And Songland gave me that leg up, I guess you could say, or that opportunity. So it's been a really weird ride trying to stay financially there. But when it hits, it hits for sure.
So Cameron, walk us through that. Okay, so you did your song Apple Pie. And you just put it out. I mean, how did you release it? Obviously, was it a self-release and you just put it on?
Kind of
iTunes
explain the
or something?
mechanics to us of how that happens, because a lot of the listeners want to know.
All of a sudden, you get a call that Apple wants to use it. I mean, walk us through that process, because I'm curious.
So basically, the way it worked is this: I wrote it under the Hollywood sign in a house under the Hollywood sign, because I was kind of going crazy at one point, running out of money, and I was just cranking out songs. I don't know, I was in the flow. It was a very creepy house. There's a lot of history there. Anyway, long story short, I found my landlord. My landlord basically hung himself.
Oh, Lord.
And so,
oh, no.
And so people started dying around me. I mean, my cousin died of brain cancer, and then my girlfriend left, my manager left. It literally was a movie.
Wow.
And I was really depressed, and I didn't talk to my dad for a few weeks. And when I was sad, I was just sending friends of mine like songs just because I was bored or whatever. And my dad shows up in Reseda in California, and he's like, to my place. I didn't tell him where I was, and he's like, "What's going on? What's the deal?" And we went to brunch, and he said, "You sent me this song the other day. It's really good. Listen, I'll lend you some money. Do this song. Just do it. Give this music business another 6 months before you move back to Salt Lake and become a real estate agent." And I go in the studio. He gives me a couple grand, pay the band, pay for the studio, all that stuff. And I sent it to a buddy of mine that was working at NBC. Lo and behold, got fired from NBC and left and got hired at Apple in Cupertino. Takes a song, nobody liked it at NBC. Just for a buddy, he goes, I'll just drop it in the Apple, whatever, Dropbox of thousands of songs that are considered for Apple commercials. Well, lo and behold, as I'm getting ready to become a real estate agent again back in Utah, probably a year, maybe 4 months later, I get a contract from my music lawyer saying, "Hey, whatever this is, sign it now." I look at the contract. Oh, it's from Apple. Great. This will never happen. And on the second number on my bucket list was get an Apple deal. I've had this for 15 years, since I was a kid.
That's awesome.
And all of a sudden, I'm surfing in San Diego. I get out of the water one day, and I have a video from my buddy Scott, and he says, "Hey, congratulations." And it's Tim Cook with the iPhone 6S, which was their most popular phone per capita in the last few years. And my song is playing on stage behind him.
Awesome.
I'm losing my mind. And all of a sudden, one commercial turns into 3, turns into 6, turns into 9, turns into 12. And I'm touring in South America. I'm touring to, Norway and Spain and everything. But nobody knows about me in the States. And so my friends are like, "What are you doing?" And my life just took off at that point. And so it was literally a fluke of a fluke, because the Apple people had 1,000 songs. They narrowed it down to like 10, and then they narrowed it down to 2, me and some other guy. And then this is the story they come in. They saw some YouTube video with a ball in a dog's mouth, and like, if the ball fits the mouth, and they're like, "Well, if the ball fits the mouth for Apple, let's just use Apple Pie." And it became a huge commercial song. So that was exactly how it happened. Sorry for the long story.
No, this is great. And a lot of our listeners want to know about the mechanics. One of my clients is Colton Dixon. He was signed to Atlantic Records. And I know a lot of people want to be the next artist signed to Atlantic or Interscope or these different labels. How do you actually, I'm not asking for you to tell us how much money you've made, but how do you get paid? Like, is it every time it's played, you're making a dime? Is it making a penny? Do you make $1? How does that work? I think the listeners want to know.
Check this out. Every time you get your song played on Spotify, you get half a penny. From the Apple deal, I made well over 7 figures. So are you going to take a penny and trust the algorithm, or are you going to contact the people that actually make the decision of what songs to use and go the licensing route? I love the licensing route, because song streaming makes no money, because the way the laws have been set in the United States and the way Spotify is, the way they've done what they've done, nobody gets really paid. Now, is half a penny not a lot? Yes, it's not a lot. But then add 40 million hits to your song, then you're getting paid some money. So if you're struggling, it's terrible. But if you're doing well, economies of scale, it's better. That's kind of the mechanics of how it works. But licensing is a very different game.
Now, Ross Golan is a songwriter who's really at the forefront of changing the way artists, specifically songwriters, get compensated. I've had Ross on the show before. We've had Emily Warren on the show. We've had some really neat guests.
By the way, Ross and I were in the same fraternity together at USC.
Get out of here.
Ross and I are very close.
So how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, so I'm 38, almost 39. I went to college at Royal Roberts University. Right across the hallway from me was a gentleman who also knows Ross very well by the name of Ryan Tedder. Do you know Ryan Tedder?
Ryan Tedder, One Republic?
Yeah,
Tedder?
yeah. I mean, outside of being on the show, I mean, have you connected with him before that show at all? Or?
Ross and Ryan used to work together.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so small world. So talk to me now. Now that you're on the Songland show, the Ryan Tedder show, the show with Shane, and tell me about what was it like being on the show and getting feedback from judges who are credited with writing so many hit songs.
Oh, well. Ryan, it's funny because Ryan, I've grown up listening to Ryan all the time. And Ryan and I kind of had this weird brotherly vibe where we were in total competition during the show because Ryan was my producer and Shane was my older brother. So it was funny how there was a lot of loving competition with all of us on the show. It was so much fun. I think that being near Ryan and Shane, I wasn't around Esther that much because I don't know why. She was working the whole time. But being around Ryan and Shane, something about these guys, I don't know if they're just connected into this weird ether where they just magically come up with dope stuff and just incredible stuff. I don't have that within me. Maybe when I see it, feel it, or I can translate. But something about Ryan and Shane, they're like, oh yeah, just do this and boom, do this and do this. And watching those two, I'm jealous. I'm honestly jealous of how good they are. I wish I could be that good at producing.
Give me a few, because Dr. Z and I have tried. We tried to get on Songland, and Z, we got an email back that said, thank you for your inquiry.
I don't even think they said that.
No, they didn't.
They said,
we haven't
please
sent
don't
the email
inquire
yet.
again.
We sent the email to one of our show sponsors, Josh. Josh with Living Water Irrigation. How are you, sir? Oh, am I muting you, Josh? I am so passive-aggressive. Josh, am I muting you right there?
You were. My wife would love that button.
Anyway, so Josh has told us stop sending the email, but the point is, so we're sending the we want to be on Songland, but we couldn't get on the show for various reasons.
Not yet. Yeah,
but our guest has been on the show. You've been on the show. Talk to me about some of the best advice you received on the show, or maybe some things that happened behind the scenes that you're allowed to share. I just kind of the kind of tips you're getting.
Well, here's what really happened. Rosie was the winner of the show, but when we taped live, Leona basically had me as also the winner. She wanted to cut my song and have me go on tour with her. So up until the day of the release, it was me and Rosie that were the two winners. What happened was I went on tour with Leona, and for some reason, Leona decided not to cut the song. And so the executive producer, Chad Hines, called me the day, and I really appreciate he called me. That was really awesome for him to tell me. He basically said, hey, man, Leona decided not to do your song. We had to cut you out at the very end. So my family and everyone, my mom, my dad, everyone, knew that, I probably won because I was always so excited about showing them the show. So basically, I was cut out of the end of the show because for some reason Leon didn't want to do it, and I was pretty devastated, because I went through a lot. I followed her and I traveled with her on tour, and it was rough. So basically, that was the hardest part of the show, and that was the biggest thing that happened behind the scenes that was really rough.
Would you? Here's the deal. I think I have a theory as to why.
Ooh, a theory.
I have a theory as to why you weren't allowed to be the winner. and I think it's because you're too beautiful.
He's too tall.
And you sing too well, and you're too tall.
He's too tall.
My dad's 6'5".
I thought Dr. C was the one that was the beautiful one here.
No,
I don't
he
have.
harnesses his beauty in his calves.
I don't have
only.
that Persian sexiness about me. I'm not 6'5". I can't dunk the ball. I mean, come on, really?
What I would like to do, if it's
I need
okay,
one of those little mini trampolines to dunk it. Come on.
I want to play a little. I want to do like I want to hop on the trampoline and take the show to another level.
There we go.
I want to play a little
Nice
snippet
segue.
of you singing a song on your YouTube channel. I'm going to the Rafferty
There we
YouTube
go.
channel. I'm
There
going
we
here.
go.
I'm going to play a little snippet, and then I would love for you to share with us about what the future holds. And,
yeah.
and because a lot of our listeners want to connect with you. They want to learn more about you. They want to. So I'm going to play a little snippet there, Senior Rafferty. Sure. I'm going to play it, and I'd like for you to kind of break it down and tell us what your future looks like. So let me cue it up here. Let me hit some play songs.
Oh, I like that. There we go. Come on now.
Oh, that's in your key, Dr. Z.
Oh, is that?
Wait for me, girl. Wait for me. Wait for me, girl. Wait for me. Wait for me. Wait for me. World, wait for me. You better wait for me. Wait for me.
He's like a taller Elvis. I mean, he's like a sexier Elvis than Elvis, you know?
It needs more cowbell, I think.
Well, cowbell always helps everything.
Your stuff is so great. We can
Dude,
go on your
that's-
YouTube
you-
channel
you're rocking.
and just look at. We could look at a lot of your different songs. Is there a specific song that you're working on right now that you just put up on YouTube, or do you think our listeners should check out? Because I am right. I got the hotkeys. I'm ready to check out just a little snippets because our listeners, they can't handle just a snippet. They want to hear the whole thing.
They want the whole thing.
Well, the song that I sing on Songland, the original song, has been extremely popular. I mean, every other comment is, when are you going to release the original? I had no idea how many people would be reaching out to me after Songland. I just thought I was going on some show, and in a world of content, there's not a lot, but not a lot of watchers out there. But the song that I'm going to release for the season is a song called Heart Full of Love, and that's basically the one that I performed first on Songland. So that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks or so, but nothing really yet, other than the song that the main song that we used for Songline. That one was released like a couple weeks ago.
Can I would like to ask you some progressively weird questions now. Now that we've established that we are a little bit off center, off kilter, I want to go into the weird zone.
Okay.
From a non-religious perspective, maybe it's religious because religion. A lot of times people, everyone's got their own worldview here, and here we go. I have spent time in college with Ryan Tedder, quite a bit there in college, and watching him, I really do believe he has a sixth sense. And when you listen to the And the Writer Is podcast with Ross Golan, or you listen to an interview with Ryan Tedder, you guys are selling air. I mean, think about this. It's not tangible, but yet it can impact the mood of people. So if you play like a certain key, Mr. Senior Rafferty, if you hit a certain key, it can make you scared in a movie. And you play another key, and it can make you feel uplifted, like if you're watching the end scene of Braveheart. If you're watching a Hans Zimmer or a John Williams composition, it can impact the way you feel, which is crazy because I'm not even scared. I could watch a movie. I did this one time in college. I took a video of our dorm room, put it in slow-mo with scary music, and we were scared. We're like, what is going on?
I'm so scared.
I'm serious. It can make it that way. Can you talk to me about the spiritual element of music and what you think it is? Because you're writing it, and I think, Senior Rafferty, this is an incredible gift you have, and I just want to hear if you can maybe describe what it is or your process for writing it, because it blows my mind.
Well, so this is what I believe about this, and I don't know, and I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah, do it.
This is what I've realized. I feel that there's like a ghost or like a spirit that goes into certain people for a certain period of time to get the work done, and then it leaves when it's time. And I feel that people with like Ryan, Ross, all these guys. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. Like there's a weird ghost that people have. But I think that for all of us, it's hard for us to maintain it's hard for us to maintain our lives like a normal person, because that ghost is always pulling on the wires in your brain to sing or to produce or to write or to play or to whatever art form it is, to do business, it doesn't matter. But I think that there's this weird thing that happens to people when you can just tap into, I think Ryan, Shane for sure, and Ross all have it. I don't know if I have it because I like to just listen to the song and sing it, and maybe it's just I translate it, I guess, in a certain way. But these guys have the ability to create beautiful music, and I don't know, I can't figure it out if it's a spiritual or religious or whatever it is. But I've had talks with a lot of the big, singers and celebrities about this thing, and I think it's a ghost. I think if you let it kind of take over your body, it stays there for as long as it needs, and then it floats away when you're done. I can't describe it.
We have a lot of listeners out there that are Christians, a lot of listeners that are not, but if you look into positive psychology, there's a thing called Flowstate, where it's like a mental state or the operation in which a person is performing an activity and they're fully immersed in a feeling of the energized focus. They lose a track of space and time while doing it. Rafferty, Josh with Living Water Irrigation here, he sort of is in his flow state when he's digging ditches and installing irrigation systems. I'm just messing with you, but Josh, but seriously, when you're growing living water and you're working, do you feel like that? Are you kind of like fully immersed, or is there an activity like golf or some activity where you feel like that too?
I wish I could say golf, but no. But when I'm out with the guys, when we're out working, when we're out doing sales and then doing what we do, definitely feel like we can get in that flow. I definitely can't say I can get in the flow like Rafferty. Even in the shower, I get a lot of please shut up and stop singing. So I can't say I can flow that well.
Rafferty,
think about this. Think about this. When you're doing a deal and you're flowing doing the deal, sometimes you don't even remember what happened, but you close the deal or you help somebody out. I mean, that's the same thing as what we do. It's just a different version. It's not maybe musical, but it's just a different way. It's doing the deal, right?
Oh, that's a great perspective on it, yeah.
I love that.
I love this.
And the fact, Cameron, that you put it across all genres. I mean, it's really not just writing music. It's doing the business deal. It's dealing with people. It's every genre of life, and that is, hitting that, listening to that inner voice inside you that is directing you in the right direction. And you just know that in your core that's the right direction. Other people may not view that as the right direction, but it's the right direction. And just like your dad came out to California and said, hey, son, I believe in you, and I'm going to put my money behind you and go chase that inner voice and go chase that inner dream of yours. And I love that. I love that support.
I love this moment. I love this show. I love what we're saying.
Can we all hold hands and just sing Kumbaya right now?
Can we? Rafferty can lead us.
Can we make some s'mores and just, he's definitely leading the song. There's no doubt
I'll start with the cowbell.
We'll sing way back here. Kumbaya.
All right.
What key are you in, Dr.
I don't even. I got my car keys in my pants.
The key of death is what he's in. The key of death.
No, but that's so profound. I love that. And that is whatever lane is your lane, is listen to that inner voice. Listen to that inner, as you said, ghost, but listen to that inner being inside you.
You know what I'm going to do here? On these shows,
you're not going to.
A lot of these hit TV shows, it's great, but they do a lot of editing, and they don't give a person maybe sometimes the floor to share a message or to share an ask. Like a real, hey, please do this for me.
Right.
You're an artist who's putting in the grind, and we want to help you. We want to see you do well. Rafferty, what's a message you want to share with our listeners, or an ask, or a place you want them to learn more about you at? Just anything you want to share with our listeners. The floor is yours.
Well, first, you can reach out to me on Instagram. That's at Rafferty, RAFFERTY, and I respond to everybody through voice. So basically, I'm not a really good texter. I'm always driving and I'm always on the move, so it's just easier on Instagram to respond by voice to people. But I respond to everybody, and it's taken me pretty late in my career to really make things happen in my life. I mean, I'm 37 years old, so it's the thing I'd like to share with people is I don't think it's ever too late to change jobs or to do that deal or to get into music or whatever it is. The point is that it's making it in music business or getting as far as I have is such a fluke, and it's just because I wake up every day and I hit it hard. And I think anybody, it doesn't matter whether you're a singer or whatever, like, entertainment music, as you guys know, it's just fake, and it's not that cool, and it's a lot of hard work. But just because somebody is out, doing the deals, going door to door, or digging irrigation ditches or whatever it is, like, everybody has that art within them, and that ghost is always, doesn't matter where it is. I think it only stays for the people that never give up. And I don't know, I don't mean to be preachy and weird.
No. I want you to be preachy and weird because people need to hear this. This is a little bit more than what most people hear, therefore it's maybe a little less safe, but it's real. And I think this is powerful. And if you're Z, this is I'm practicing some Trump apophysis.
Okay.
So if we had President Trump on the show, he would say something like, I'm not saying you're a bad person if you don't check out Rafferty on social media. I'm not going to go as far as to say.
Well, of course not.
Some closest to me, some top financial advisors have told me that one should go check out Rafferty online if you care about yourself.
If you do
but
care
I'm
about
not
yourself.
going to say that. I would never go that far. No,
but I have people around me that might say
some
that.
Some of the closest people, even right now, are saying, and I'm saying, whoa, no.
Whoa.
I can't go that far. I'm not going to say,
I'm not going to
check out Rafferty.
fully go
check
that
out
far,
Rafferty. I wouldn't say it a third time. Check out Rafferty. Is that pretty good?
At Rafferty on Instagram. And I love that, though. He answers everything. I love that.
I love it.
I love that.
We love it.
I love that. And you know what? Darn the day when he doesn't have it. He's got so many he can't answer them.
I mean,
right now,
we're on the precipice.
Darn the day when he has to change his cell phone number because, it happens. I mean, you're going to become so famous and you're on trajectory. And you know what? I love the fact that you've built your character now that you're 37 and you're getting ready to rock and roll this thing. I love that. It's better than being 17 and not being able to handle it. I feel like you've gone through some of the fires of life, that have tempered you. And so now, I don't really know you that well, but I feel like I do. Well, and I know we've had a breakthrough. We've had a breakthrough, right? We've had a breakthrough. I think it's a breakthrough.
I feel it. The tension's been broken.
Okay. And so I like that about that. The guys that are the hard hitting, that put the time in, grinded, have done the stuff that they need to do, become tempered in life, and now you get that success and you can handle it. You're not going to go crazy like so many of the teenagers do that get the success too early in life. So that Boo-rah for you.
Rafferty, I appreciate you for agreeing to be on the show. Congratulations on your success. I know you can't share with us the show you're going to be on, but I'm going to guess real quick, and then you can tell me if it's the show. I'm going to have 3 guesses, and you tell me, okay? Here we go.
3 guesses, go.
Full House Part 3.
I'm going to say no.
No, I wish so. I wish.
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, that's like, poof. Yeah.
A new show called Not the Cosby Show. Is that it's called Not the Cosby Show?
I think that's it because that's got to be it.
Is that the show he said he's on? I nailed it.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah. Okay. Now my final guess.
I get 3 guesses after this. So.
Rocky 17.
Oh, was there Rocky 16?
There's a lot more coming down the pipe. There's a lot more
about in production.
Okay, then in that case, I'm going to actually try out for Rocky 17 when it comes out, because at that point I'll probably be that beaten up in this business. So,
and I'm gonna throw out 3 movies that you probably signed for. I know the TV shows and all that's one thing, but the movies that I know that are chasing him right now.
Okay,
and I know he can't.
You can end the show.
He can't openly acknowledge probably one way or the other because of contractual obligations with his agent.
Yep.
But I'm thinking Zoolander 3 is all over you.
Oh no! If I'm doing Zoolander 3, you got a problem.
Is all over you. Gladiator Part 2. I mean, all over you.
Oh,
he looks like he's a gladiator.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They were
he's a fighter.
If they were like, Cameron, do Gladiator Part 2, and I was just like, you want me to do it? Yeah, I'm in. I would quit everything. I would go for it.
If you're out there and you're working on Gladiator Part 2 , just let us know.
Just let us know.
Just send an email to info@timetimeshow.com. And the final guest, Z.
Oh, the final guest for a movie would be I'm really, 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 really a good singer. It's a new movie they're coming out with.
Really, really, really... that's what I'm going to do. Every time I perform live, I'll be like, listen, everybody, I'm Rafferty. I'm a really, 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 really good singer.
And I'm really tall, and I'm really good looking.
Oh, well.
And Cameron, you know what? can we just humbly submit one thing? I mean, would you not, as you skyrocket into stardom and fame and fortune, and you own your own island around the world, and you know, all that kind of jazz, just don't forget about us little guys.
Yeah,
would you not? I mean, just don't forget about us.
Okay.
Right. That's fair.
I won't forget about you guys, I promise.
Rafferty,
that's fair.
Thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you for putting up with us, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, buddy. You're awesome. Go get them.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. And now, without any further ado, 3,